My mom grew up in the hills of West Virginia. She was 14 before she saw her first car. And there was no entertainment, there was no television, not even radio back then and there. But they had recitation nights at the school about once a month. The little kids had learned 3 or 4 lines, the older kids had learned longer poems, and they would do these for the enjoyment of the community. Everybody attended and they had a good time. Well, as I grew up, my sisters and I, who are quilters, must have spent more time with our mother because we learned a lot of these poems that she had learned as a child. We put them together for our family reunion a few years ago. We had a 120-page book. So my mother knew a lot of poems. I don't know them all, but one of my favorites is called And So Did I. That long, lank dude that sparks our Sue was here last Saturday night, and talk of fun. Well, say, I thought I'd die outright. Laugh? Well, I'm a laughing yet. I guess I'll never quit. I only have to think of it, and then I darn near have a fit. He came to supper, and of course we had a dandy spread. Sue trotted out her chocolate cake and Mom her fancy bread. That long, lank dude, he stuffed himself on cakes, preserves, and pies, and then drank 16 cups of tea. And so did I. Jim Snaggs, he eats and he eats. My, how that dude could stuff. Till every plate was cleared, then Jim guessed he'd had enough. Up from his chair, Jim staggered. You could almost see him swell. He ate so much, how he got up, more than I can tell. Then I saw him beckon Sue, and she answered with her eye, and they sneaked to the parlor, and so did I. They made for that old settee in the corner by the door, and I crawled in and hid behind like I often done before. And then I heard Jim whisper, Sue, let me give you one. And Sue, she said, Jim, if you do, I'll get right up and run. And then she giggled foolish like, you know how young folks spark. Before the parlor lamp is lit and things is kind of dark. Jim, he kissed her good and hard and said, and Sue, she said, oh, fie, and jabbed her fist in Jim Snaggs' neck. So did I. I bobbed down quick. Jim didn't see. For love, you know it's blind. Then with a cord I started in Jim's swell coat tails to bind. He had on his new Prince Albert, 'cause Jim was quite a card. And 'fore he knew a thing, I had him tied up good and hard. 'Neath that old settee, then I crawled and laid flat on the floor. I had Sue's still hat pin in my hand, about 16 inches long or more. And just as Jim was kissing Sue, I jabbed him in the thigh. He yelled and rolled in 14 fits. And so did I. You should have seen the circus when that pin got busy. Whoo, you must know Jim hit the ceiling, and the settee went there too. Round and round the room he dragged it like a mule hitched to a truck, till both his coattails were torn off and Jim just cussed his luck. He stomped and yelled till all the folks rushed headlong through the door and stumbled over Sue, who lay unconscious on the floor. Pop dashed right out for water, man. You should have seen him fly. He saw 16 bucketfuls in Sue's face. So did I. At last, they got Sue on a chair. Poor gal, she couldn't stand, and Jim just stood and rubbed himself with a coat tail in each hand. At last, an argument arose as to what kind of animal might have bitten Jim through his clothes. Sue guessed a snake. Mom said she thought 'twas lightning from the sky, but at last they blamed it on the cat, and so did I.